I was born in 1932. Because when the war started, there were only 4 children, plus my mother and dad. My dad was sent over from Japan to service a community, plantation community of Japanese laborers in a Buddhist temple. When I started school in the first grade, my first language was Japanese, because that's what we spoke at home. So all my English was picked up after I attended school. In fact, one of the funny stories that I can remember is when I went to school and I wanted to use the bathroom. And my teacher was Chinese. And I kept saying, I want to go to the bathroom in Japanese. And she did not understand. So my friend had to intercede and said, he wants to go to the bathroom. So I ran out of the building, and the bathroom, of course, was on the other end of the buildings. Ran out to use the bathroom. Then, of course, my mother was so insisting that I learn English properly. And she didn't speak a word of English, but she always used to say, okay, get your book out, all in Japanese, read to me. She didn't understand English, remember? And so I had to read out loud to her. And later on, my teachers got after me and said, you better teach your brothers how to read, to teach them how to read. So, I think when I was a child going to school, I was like every other kid, just enjoying. We had to walk about a mile or mile and a half to school. And of course, we didn't have any shoes, so we used to run barefooted all the time. And get back from the regular English school, we used to say, and attend Japanese language school. Because most of the children had to learn Japanese in order to converse with their parents. So that was part of the requirement. So up to 4th grade, I was going through English and Japanese language school. On Kauai, they used to have the Japanese plane fly over in order to get to Honolulu, Pearl Harbor. And we saw the planes going over and used to wave at the Japanese plane because they had that round red marking on the airplane. But later on, I said, oh, well, maybe that was the time we saw it. But I don't remember very clearly. I was still young at that time. He was taken on the night of December 7th. Of course, we didn't know what was going on as far as I'm concerned. But I remember my mother, after blackout, they used to black out all the windows for protection against giving signals to the Japanese airplane coming into Hawaii. She used to be sitting underneath the lamp and doing sewing, and she would be crying. And I can remember this clearly. I says, gosh, I'm telling my mother not to cry. Since I'm the oldest, I used to be the caregiver to take care of my brothers and my sister. So I did a lot of cooking, washing clothes, ironing. I did all those things when I was growing up. Because my dad was incarcerated and my mother was working, non-working, non-income producing, we were then required to move. We were shipped to Oahu in a ship and then transferred to another ship and then shipped us to Oakland, California, where we landed, and they got us all in a train, and they just trained us all the way to Arkansas. Then as we moved, they said, keep the blinders down or the curtains down, you can't look out. So that's how it was. Everybody sat in a chair very quietly, not much conversation, and although there were some, I guess the adults were talking a lot, and kids were probably running around. I don't remember. Well, I think this happened later on when the teachers were all volunteers, of course. And when we were transferred from Jerome to California, because what had happened was they gathered all the people who who were Japanese aliens, and they congregate them in Tule Lake, and from there they would ship them back to Japan. So there was a few who left sent back to Japan for exchange prisoners thing, but fortunately the war ended, so we were not sent back to Japan, but my father wrote to the delegate from Hawaii saying, change our orders, we want to go back to Hawaii. So we returned to Hawaii after that. We just followed the rules. I mean, we didn't have any choice whether we're going to move there or here. You know, you just went along, whatever they said, you move here, we went, move there, we move there. So that's how. Members from our community who volunteered into the 442nd Infantry 100th Battalion Infantry, and they were stationed in Fort McCoy or someplace near in Alabama. So they came to visit us, I remember. And they came with their full gear, of course, and they dropped off their overcoats and their boots so that we could have warm clothes. You know, this was fairly early in Arkansas. So I remember walking around in this big, heavy boots and a big jacket, you know, oversized jacket, because I was still a kid. Roosevelt wanted to transport all of the Japanese from Hawaii to the camps, but the local people and the committee that started this looking into the impact of the war, they objected to that. Because if they shipped all the Japanese American away from Hawaii, Pearl Harbor would close down, all the industry would close down. You know, Japs go home, we don't want your business, you know, go back to Japan. Each family had to dig a bomb shelter, things like that. And I remember crawling into that, and God, it was musty, and because Hawaii is always wet, Kauai. I remember going to school and having to carry gas masks, because they were afraid the Japanese were going to bomb poisonous gas. So we had to carry gas masks around. And we used to go into a tent to test and make sure that we fitted right, and they'd put tear gas in it and make sure you came out okay. But when I came back from the camp to Hawaii, I could feel the strange feeling inside, because I felt like I was coming out of prison. So for a long time I carried that feeling through high school, and I didn't get over that feeling until I went to college. I used to think, gosh, all my friends grew up and they had fun going fishing in Hawaii and playing football and things that I never did get to go.